Hi, in this video, you'll learn how to create a post web API in Appian. A post web API is very similar to a get web API. They both receive requests from an external system and send back responses. However, the key difference is that a post method allows an external system to execute a smart service in Appian, such as writing data. This is particularly useful when an external system needs to start an Appian process and send data to be used in a workflow. We'll walk through how to create a post web API using the start process template to initiate an Appian process from an external system and save data sent from the external system to a record type. In my environment, I have a few objects set up already. I have a newly created process model, a constant that points to the process model, and a record type for saving the data later on. We will reference these objects when creating and testing our web API. From Appian Designer, create a new web API object and select the Start Process template. This template uses a post method, which allows an external system to trigger an Appian process model. Select your process model constant and provide a name and description. Next, name the endpoint for the web API. This name should be unique since it is used as part of the web API's URL. When you are done, click Create and review the security permissions. This is an important step as integration authentications are tied to user accounts. Once your web API is created, you'll notice that Appian has already provided you with an expression to start with. For this web API, you have the start process function and its parameters. The process model parameter is the constant you created and refers to the process that will be triggered. If your process model has process variables, you can pass values into these process variables from the external system. The expression uses the ABAME from JSON function to convert incoming JSON data from the external system into Appian values. On success and on error define the response to return when the process either starts successfully or encounters an error. Normally, if you're just writing data, you can use a write records function in place of start process. But in our example, we can imagine we are triggering a process that has a larger workflow. Let's see what happens when we click Test Request. When you test the API now, you should see a 200 success code. However, if you scroll down to the test results, you'll notice that the process variables are empty. You'll notice the same thing if you check your process model instance. This is because our process model doesn't yet have any variables configured to receive data. To handle the data sent through the post request, let's add a process variable. For this example, the external system wants to send vehicle data, such as the year, color, make, and model, and save it to a vehicle record type. When creating the process variable, be sure to check the parameter box to allow the value to be provided when starting the process. Next, we'll add a write record smart service to the process to save the incoming vehicle data. Under the Setup tab, select the vehicle record type. Now that our process model is ready to accept and store data, let's save and publish and return to the web API. Back in the web API, we'll update the process parameters to reference the vehicle process variable. Since we want to save the data to the record type, we need to cast the incoming JSON data to match the vehicle record type. Let's now test this with some sample data. Here I'm entering some sample data that matches the fields from the vehicle record type. If I click Test Request, I should see a 200 success code again. But now, when I check the process instance, the vehicle process variable is populated with the data that was entered as a test input: vehicle year, color, make, and model. Additionally, if we check the vehicle record type, we can see that the new vehicle data has been saved. In this video, you'll learn how to create a post web API that starts an Appian process and saves data from an external system to a record type. This data can then be used throughout your workflow, whether that's transforming the data, saving it, or triggering a subprocess. If you found this video helpful, check out the integrations playlist on the Appian Community YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.